Hi students, welcome to B.Tech 360. As you know, we've been doing a series of videos on those colleges that you must look out for, which are beyond the IITs, IIITs, NITs and all. And some of these colleges that we're talking of are extremely good colleges, all stuck in the states that you're dealing with, but they don't go through the national counselling that happens. But they're extremely good colleges, and many of these colleges are so good that they're better than the IIITs, NITs and GFTs and many of the IITs also in terms of the student outcome, which is the placement that we talk about. And now we're going to talk about those colleges in Karnataka which accept students from COMEDK, which is COMEDK is essentially consortium of medical, engineering and dental colleges. They actually have one single entrance test for all these colleges where students who are not from Karnataka can get in through an examination that they themselves have and get into some of the best colleges that Karnataka offers. And Karnataka has a very undue and unfair advantage, which is that some of the best industries, some of the best companies are based out of Karnataka. So your placements become so much more easier because so much industry is flourishing there, so many companies are there, and so many MNCs, foreign companies also are based out of that place. Which is where we are covering this examination. We're talking of the top 5 engineering colleges accepting the COMEDK examination, and we'll tell you what kind of placement that happens, what kind of salaries that you get, and what kind of rank you must get in COMEDK to be eligible to get into that college, right? And we're talking of, by the way, we're talking of the COMEDK 2025 data, and we're talking of only the open category at this point in time, for the simple reason that it is easier for us to talk of that. At least you'll get an indication of the quality of student that you must be or the kind of merit that you must be to get into these colleges. Right. Now, to give you some kind of a basic understanding of COMEDK, last year in 2025, you actually had about 1,31,000 students who actually registered for this examination, and 1,13,000 students appeared for the examination. So we start from here, which is 1,13,000 students who appeared for the examination, and 150 plus colleges in Karnataka actually accept COMEDK as a score to get students from not from the state of Karnataka but beyond the state of Karnataka to be applying into that system, right? And about 26,827 seats were decided based on the COMEDK score. The difference between a KCET examination and a COMEDK is KCET is meant for the students of the state to get into these colleges. COMEDK has a different fee structure, right? But it enables you to get into this college. So it is open for all the people across India. Now, the first college in this, which is accepting COMEDK score, is RV College of Engineering. This, by the way, is also the college that obviously you can come through KCET also if you're a student of Karnataka. And it is the most competitive college. In fact, your alumni includes people like Rahul Dravid, Srinath, and Javagal Srinath, the cricketers, the famous cricketers that we had. But this established in 1963. So the thing is, when you actually deal with a 63-year-old legacy, it's been there for the last 63 years. Obviously, you will be actually having your alumni all over the city, all over the country, all over the world also for that matter. And because of that, your placement becomes so much more easier because people who studied here would be at top ranks across the companies around the globe, around the country, and for sure in the state also. And to that extent, the placement becomes easier because obviously the alma mater will come back and seek placements from their institution that they studied in. And the college also reaches out to the alumni to help them place their students, right? So because of which it becomes easier. It's an autonomous college spread over 17 acres of land. 5,050 students is the number of students that they have. 75% are boys, 25% are girls. 29% students come from outside the state, and that is where the COMEDK route works out for you. 29% come from outside the state, and 362 faculty, which essentially means that we're dealing with a 1:13-14 kind of a faculty-student ratio. The next one is the kind of placement we're talking of. They actually, in 22-23, when we actually had the last data, we had 1,145 students admitted through lateral and basic, the normal intake, and lateral 1,145, of which 1,072 students graduated, 810 students were placed. 95 opted for higher studies, which means that they did not want to get placed and opted out of for higher studies, which is 83% placement, and the median salary is 10 lakh rupees. Mind you, at 810 kind of a placement, when you have 10 lakh, because you also have core and non-core and kind of a thing, this 10 lakh is a very good median salary at this point in time, right? Because if you go down to the some of the top branches, the placement would be about 18 lakh, 20 lakh, 25 lakhs also. As I said, last year when you look at it, the 25 data, the data of 25, earlier what I talked about is 22-23 data. When you look at 25 data from their own institution website, 262 companies visited for placement, 922 offers were made, 830 offers were accepted, and the median average salary is 13.76 lakh. This is far better than most of the IITs, most of the NITs and most of the IIITs and most of the GFTS for sure. And the highest offer was made at 67 lakh rupees and the average is 13.76 lakh rupees. And that too when you're actually placing 810 students. Now that's a very, very big number that we're talking about. Now, what is the kind of highest closing cutoff rank of COMEDK that will enable you to get in? Remember, I talked to you of 1,13,000 students appearing for the examination. When you look at that, the highest closing cutoff here is 692, which means we're dealing with 99.4 percentile. Right? And that's for BE Computer Science. So you need to be 99.4 percentile in COMEDK examination to be a part of this. For BE Data Science, it's 890 is the highest closing rank. Again, 1,13,000 will deal with 99.2 percentile. This is 975 highest closing rank. B Cybersecurity is 1091 and B Electronics and Communication is 1399. Highest closing rank is what we're talking about. Moving further, the next one that we're talking about is Ramaiah Institute of Technology. And these are placement statistics we'll talk of. Established in 1962. So again, we're dealing with 38 plus 26, 64 years of legacy. Right. It's an autonomous college spread over 85 acres of land. 4,814 students is what they have for pursuing the UG 4-year program. Right, 65% are boys, 35% are girls, 38% students come from outside the state, which is where the COMEDK route again works out for you. And in this, 2.5% students come from outside the country also. This 38% is what you can be a part of through the COMEDK route, right? And only 60% students come from within the state. Right. Now, what are the kind of placement data that we have of this institution? If you look at the 23-24 data for NRF, which is the Government of India, the colleges submit the data to the Government of India for ranking purposes to the Ministry of Education. The intake was 1,080, including the lateral recruitment, it is 1,096. 1,075 students graduated, 787 students were placed, 195 opted for higher studies, 90% is the placement rate, 89.4%, and the median salary is 7.5 lakh. Again, I repeat, when you actually place so many students, 787 students, your median salary of 7.5 lakh is legit, because for some of the branches, the placement is slightly more difficult. But when you look at up above, in terms of some of the branches, it will reach up to 15 lakh, 20 lakh kind of an average salary. Now, what is the highest closing rank of COMEDK score, open category last year? 1,667 for, CSE. Now, which when you look at 1,667 and remember 1,13,000 students appeared for the examination, we're dealing with about 98.5 percentile. Right. And B Computer Science Engineering with A and Machine Learning is 2,098. B Electronics and Computer Science and Engineering is 2,852 for cyber security. B Information Science and Engineering is 3,030. And B Artificial Intelligence is 3,244. And as I said, you can obviously come through KCET also, but we're talking of COMEDK here. So the next one that we have, as I said, is for BMS College of Engineering, established in 1946. So we're dealing with about 54 plus 26, 80 years of service. It's been there for 80 years. Whenever you have such a legacy institution, your placements are very, very good because your alumni would be all over the country, all over the state, all over the city, and they'll be sitting in top places also because they would have been recruited 15 years back, 20 years back, and will be occupying very, very senior positions. And that helps an institution like this in terms of placements also. It's a private institution spread over 15 acres, 68% students are boys, 32% are girls, 20% students come from outside the state, which is very important, and 6% students come from outside the country also. In all, 26% is what you're dealing with, which is very, very good in that sense, right? So you actually, what we're talking about with this 20% is what you can be a part of by getting into this particular college. What is the kind of rank and what is the kind of placement that you can think of here? Last year in 23-24, based on the NRF data of 2025, 1,440 students actually intake that they have. Including lateral recruitment, 1,554 was the students who were admitted. 1,417 students graduated. 924 students were placed. 100 students opted for higher studies. 70% is the placement percentages, and 8.5 lakh is the median salary. When you're actually dealing with 70% across a placement of 924, it's very, very good, because when you go up the branches, that will be about hitting about 15 lakh and all. But because you're talking of median salary here, as the other branches start kicking in, you'll actually have less, the median salary falling, which is what would have happened here. Otherwise, it will be, if you take the top half, it will be about 12-14 lakh rupees would be the average salary that you will have, which is far better than what many of the IIITs and NITs actually offer. Now, when you look at the offers that are done. For biotechnology, about 17 students were placed and 22 offers they had. Civil engineering, 41 students were placed. Mechanical, 99 students were placed. Electronics, 39 students were placed. Electrical and electronics engineering, 41 were placed. Electronics and communication, 133 students were placed. ISC, 176 students were placed. Computer science, 164 students were placed. Medical electronics engineering, 17 students were placed. And chemical engineering, 21 students were placed. And that's the kind of number that we're talking of as far as BMS College for the branches that were there, right? And what's the highest closing rank for COMEDK examination, open category, is what we're talking about here. For CSE, it is 5,312 was the highest closing rank. At 1,13,000 have appeared for the examination. We're dealing with about 96 points something, 96 percentile and above kind of number. Between 95 and 96 percentile, right? For BE Computer Science Engineering, it's 5,610. For Artificial Intelligence, 5,885. BE Computer Science Engineering is 6,143. That's Internet of Things and Cybersecurity. And B.Tech CS and Business Systems is 6,650. So we're dealing with 96 percentile to 94 percentile is what we're dealing with to get into BMS College of Engineering through the COMEDK examination, where the placements are so good. So next one is Sri Jaya Chamarajendra College of Engineering in Mysuru. This is a very good college again, established in 1963. So we're dealing with about 63 years again of legacy. Private college, spread over 117 acres, 4,537 students up there. Total male is 49% are boys, 51% are girls, 7.5% come from outside the state, 92% come from within the state, and about 3 students are outside the country also. Right. Now, the reason why we are talking about this particular college, look at the placement data of 24, year ending 24, 1,060 was the intake, including admitted and lateral, it came down to 1,042, which means the admitted was lesser, right? Graduating was 959 of the 1,042, 828 students were placed, 90 students opted for higher studies, 95% of the placement rate, 8 lakh is the median salary. Right. So again, I keep repeating, when you actually have such high placement, the median salary typically falls because there are other branches that kick in. And if you look at the highest salary across the branches, you will realize why it happens. For B.Tech Engineering, it's 8 only is the highest salary. CSE was 56 lakhs. Computer Science is 56 lakhs. Construction Technology Management, they have a course, is 7 lakhs only. Civil is 8.5. Electronics and Communication Engineering is 35 lakhs, and Electricals and Electronics is 18 lakhs. So you actually see this whole thing, why the median falls, because when you have these kind of branches, the median falls. But if you keep taking the branch that you like and where there's a higher outcome, you will actually be getting the best benefit out of it. And for B.Tech CSE, the highest closing rank last year was 7,156. At 1,13,000 that we have, we're dealing with 93 percentile is what you're looking at. And you will get into this, right? The next one is Dayananda Sagar College of Engineering in Bangalore. This is again a very good college, 1917 established. So we're dealing with 21 plus 26, 47 years of legacy. It's a private college, spread over 7 acres. By the way, there is also a Dayananda Sagar University. So we're not talking of Dayananda Sagar University, we're talking of Dayananda Sagar College of Engineering at this point in time. 7,672 is the total students who are pursuing the 4-year program in the campus, of which 67% are boys, 33% are girls. And 36% of the students come from outside the state of Karnataka. That's very important. That's the COMEDK route that we're talking about at this point in time, right? And 64% come from within the state, 16 from outside the country also. And 488 faculty, which means 1:15 faculty is maintained. Now, what's the kind of placement that Dayananda Sagar has? 1,680 was the intake, 1,699 including lateral recruitment. Graduating students is 1,562, about 94% students graduated. 1,155 students and 348 students moved for higher studies. So 95% student is the placement rate. So we are talking of 1,155 plus 358, which reaches out to about 1,500 and something. And the balance about 50-60 were not placed. And the median salary is 5 lakh rupees here. Again, when you deal with 1,155, I keep repeating this. When you deal with such high placements, the median salary is bound to fall because you actually have the other branches triggering in. What is the highest closing rank of COMEDK last year? For B.Tech CSE, it's 7,819. For data science, it's 8,322. For cybersecurity, it's 9,105. AI and machine learning is 9,622. And B.Tech Computer Science Engineering with IoT and cybersecurity, including blockchain technology, is 10,204. When you deal with 10,204, we're dealing with about 91 percentile. So we're dealing with 91 percentile to 93 percentile. Between 91 and to 93 percentile is what we're dealing with through COMEDK. Right. So when you deal with that kind of a thing, you'll get into Dayananda Sagar College School of Engineering. So this is what we've covered at this point in time. You want me to cover any other examination of your choice which you want me to cover in terms of what are the examination to get into a certain college, or what kind of college will come through an examination. I can happily cover that. If you want me to cover in depth any of these colleges that I've reported here, please message me here. I'll be happy to cover that. Thank you so much. Namaste.